Hi, I'm William Biagini with Campus Reform, and today I'm joined by Representative Dr. Virginia Foxx. Dr. Foxx, thank you so much for joining me today. It's great to have you.
Thank you for having me.
So, as you know, the Supreme Court recently overruled affirmative action and struck down Biden's student loan forgiveness plan in the last 2 days of June. These are both major conservative victories. And I'm really interested in looking at the responses of different colleges around the country to these two decisions. For example, Harvard said that while they're going to comply with the court's decision, they're going to continue to attempt to admit a diverse student body. So my question for you is, how do you think that other colleges are going to react? Do you think they're going to follow suit like Harvard, or do you think they're going to take a different approach?
Oh, I think they're all going to be like Harvard. They're going to nominally say they're obeying the law. I mean, it'd be a little foolish for them to say, we're going to, stick our thumb in the eye of the Supreme Court. That wouldn't be a very smart thing to do, although probably that's how they feel. But yes, they'll try to get around it to get a diverse student body, as though that is the holy grail. They've made diversity, racial diversity, a holy grail.
So regarding student loan debt, many protesters, immediately following the decision, many protesters were really angry with President Biden specifically because he promised to pay off thousands of dollars of student debt, but now that decision was struck down by the Supreme Court. In addition to that, the committee in a June 30th tweet said that it has no doubt that President Biden and the Democrats will continue to look for ways to cancel student debt. In your view, what are these different ways? How do you think that President Biden and the Democrats are going to approach it another time?
Well, this is very consistent with the whole Biden administration, getting around the law, getting around the rules, doing things illegally. They will do it by fiat, meaning by rules and regulations. They believe they're the smartest people in the world. They believe that this is their right to do this. We overthrew the king 247 years ago, but President Biden, I think, and the people who work for him think that we still have the ability to do that. But what they'll do is they'll put in rules that will do everything possible to have students pay back as small amount as possible, and for some of them, nothing. But this is totally unfair to the American taxpayer. Only 13% of people in this country owe debt on their college degrees or having gone to college. A lot of them didn't get a degree, that's why they have debt. They want the 87% of us who don't have debt to pay off that obligation that these other people took freely. So they'll do everything they possibly can. As I said, they'll write rules and regulations. They'll say, oh, you only have to pay 5% of your disposable income, and then they'll encourage them to make their disposable income look very low.
Dr. Foxx, multiple members of my family had to take out student debt to pay for their college tuition. And they didn't cry to the president to pay off their student debt. They didn't whine and complain that they had it. No, they worked hard and they paid it off. And in addition to that, you said in a statement a day before this, on June 29th, that the Department of Education's unlawful extension of the student loan repayment pause up to 90 days is blatantly political in nature. Now, why do you think that college students today don't realize that?
Well, we have a totally different culture, and again, the Biden administration is pushing this idea. They are saying, somehow or another, debt that you incurred to benefit yourself to get a college degree isn't the same as borrowing money for a car, borrowing money to buy a house, or anything else. It is not different. The people who borrowed this money benefited themselves by getting, hopefully, an education. They may or may not have gotten an education out of it, but at least that was the stated purpose. But somehow or another, they are a special class. Again, part of what the Biden administration is doing constantly is trying to divide our culture into a tribal society where one group of people is pitted against another group of people. And it's wrong. It's just totally wrong to do that.
Do you think that Biden's plan to cancel student debt, do you think that this could be, a last-ditch effort or an attempt to save his ever-decreasing approval rates?
Well, I do think that they see this as buying votes. I think it's as blatant a situation as possible. And by the way, we're not really talking about young people. I know a lot has been made of this as, oh, we're helping young people and keeping young people in the Democrat fold. But some of this debt is quite old. Some of these people are middle-aged or older. And so I don't think it's really trying to buy the vote of just young people. Now, they may be thinking of young people currently and in the future thinking, well, the young people currently in college think, well, I can just borrow all the money I want to, and then it'll be paid for. But I do think it's a blatant buying of votes.
Now, finally, in another example that we covered at Campus Reform, the committee sent a letter on June 27th to Secretary of Education Cardona and expressed its concerns that the department is not ready for the transition back to student loan repayment. In addition to that, we reported that Cardona was recently in a committee hearing unable to answer questions that he was asked. One of these was what color his suit was, which in my analysis was a shade of dark blue. Now, in your opinion, what do you think of Secretary Cardona's leadership? Do you think that he and the Department of Education are doing their job at all?
No, I do not. Secretary Cardona has a great background for being Secretary of the Department of Education. He has a very diverse background educationally, and I think he could have been a really, really great Secretary of Education. However, he is surrounded by the most radical people that the Biden administration could have put into the department, and they are guiding, I think, him. And I'm not sure how much comes from the White House or how much comes directly from the people already placed in the department. But I'm afraid that Secretary Cardona may not be completely in charge.
Right. Right. Dr. Foxx, thank you so much for joining me today. It was great to have you.
You're welcome.